quote, "I see the greatest quarterback of all time." Andy Reid also chimed in, calling Brady, quote, "unbelievable." So, Shannon, I'll ask you, is Tom Brady finished?
No, he's not finished. But Tom Brady is now in that tier of quarterbacks that needs things to go really, really well for him to be successful. I think that no, people don't fear Tom Brady because there are not very many quarterbacks that have at least 4 guys on their roster that's gone to Pro Bowl at the skill position. Mike Evans has been a Pro Bowl player. Chris Godwin has gone to the Pro Bowl. Gronk has gone to the Pro Bowl. Antonio Brown has gone to the Pro Bowl. I dare you to find 4 quarterbacks that's currently playing in the NFL that has more weapons than Tom Brady.
Well, I'll throw in Fournette. And remember, there's this guy named LaShawn McCoy who's in the doghouse right now.
Right.
Like, they don't even play him.
Right.
But he is out there, healthy, ready to go, I think.
Right. So, Skip, Tom now is a guy that needs help. Things need to be well. The days of Tom Brady doing more with less are over. The days of Tom Brady, I ain't got a running game. Tom Brady's just going to throw me to victory. Those days are over. But he can still play, but things need to go really, really well for him to play. He needs a running game. He needs max protection. You can't have people scraping and digging at his feet. That's all. That's it. The days of him doing what Mahomes can do or Aaron Rodgers can do, those days are over. When he was the guy, well, that guy can't do what Brady does. Brady ain't got no running game. And you and I both know, if he was in New England with the weapons that they got in New England, nobody would be fearing Tom Brady. But because he still has Mike Evans, he still has those guys that can go make plays, of course, he is to be feared. He is to be respected. And that's not enough. Look, Skip, he's been at the top of the food chain for how long? Basically since, even the first Super Bowl, Skip, I wouldn't say he was an elite quarterback. I wouldn't say he was Peyton Manning back then. But for the last, 15 years, he's been at the top of the food chain.
We'll start with the second Super Bowl, because that was pretty sensational. So
with that being said, Skip, that's not a knock. But as we just need things to be more in place for us to have success or the same levels of success. Things need to go well. And if things go well, he plays great. If things don't go well,
You realize there are a bunch of quarterbacks in this league that when things do go well, they still don't play well, right?
Well, if you give them those guys, how many of those guys got a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Gronk? When things don't go well, they still don't. When things go well, they don't play well.
You're now saying Tom Brady is a dime a dozen? Like you can mix and match any of those average quarterbacks and they could all do what
There is a reason why Tom Brady chose Tampa. Tampa didn't choose him. He chose them. Now tell the people why. Because he knew what they have. Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans. That's why. He could have stayed his butt in Tampa. He could have stayed his butt in New England, but he knew they didn't have it. No, he couldn't. Coach Belichick said, you got to get up out of here.
I believe that's what happened. So it is amusing to me, you are showing or displaying more fear of Tom Brady today than you did last Tuesday when you basically wrote him off and said he's finished.
No, Skip. Look, I've always said this, Skip. The days Tom Brady, right now, Tom is doing less with more, as opposed to being the picture in the dictionary, nobody does more with less. He has more than he's ever had, and he doesn't look, you saw the 4 games? Tom Brady, when have you ever seen Tom Brady look like that, Skip? In all your years of watching, the games against New Orleans, the game against Chicago, the game last week, when have we ever seen Tom Brady look like this?
I've seen a couple of playoff games when he's looked like that. Rex Ryan's Jets made him look like that. The Baltimore Ravens made him look like that, even in a home game. And I thought the Rams made him look pretty shaky for a while until he pulled off the game-winning drive.
Think about that. That was one game in a season. We've seen 4 of those games this year.
But what else have we seen? In 6 of their 7 wins, Tom Brady has 19 touchdown passes to 1 interception.
Right.
He has a QBR in those 6 wins out of 7 of 90. I dare you to go find somebody else this side of Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or the top Russell Wilson who can do that.
In those 6 games, how many yards does Roe Jones have running? How many yards does Leonard Fournette have running? That's my point, Skip. When things go well, can they run it?
How well did they go when they fell down 24-7 to the Los Angeles Chargers? That was Tom Brady at his greatest in the second half, leading another one of those stunning comebacks that he has orchestrated so many times. He threw for 263 just in the second half, 15 of 17, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. That was not a runner's game. That was a thrower's game, and he outthrew the kid who shell-shocked them with 3 touchdown passes in the first half, Justin Herbert.
Yep.
So he's had these masterpieces at Las Vegas against Derek Carr. He was just off. He threw for 369, 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. At Carolina, when I thought they were in trouble because Teddy Bridgewater had outplayed Patrick Mahomes just the week before at Kansas City, he throws for 341, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He always has needed protection because he's not the most mobile quarterback. He has great pocket feet, but he's not going to escape and hurt you with his legs. We know that, so he needs a semblance of protection, which, to Belichick's credit, they always gave him, thanks to the great Dante Scarnecchia, a great offensive line coach who retired before last year when the protection started to break down. He was always pretty good there. But I submit to you, he did more with less because it was easier to do more with less in New England. In New England, basically, his thought process at the snap was, I'm either going to find Jules, as in Julian Edelman, on an option route underneath, or maybe it's Gronk on a little deeper route, or probably it's James White on a swing pass. And it's like bing, 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 right? And the ball is gone quickly, and he stays clean, he stays upright, he stays healthy, and they pick you to pieces. All of a sudden, he had too much of a good thing, and it was his fault in Tampa Bay because they got to 6-2 with all those weapons that you raved about, and they all fell into place. He figured them out. He got them in sync and in rhythm, and he had a pecking order of, I can go here, 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 and here. I'll keep everybody relatively happy, and we will win games. And I thought they were off and running, and so did you at that point because the defense was backing up the offense. All of a sudden, something happened. Another shell shocker to me. He goes out and says, I want Antonio Brown. I love this young man. I want him here, baggage or no baggage. And Bruce Arians had already dug in and say he does not fit in our locker room. And I believe that he got his wrist slapped. Bruce Arians got his wrist slapped by the GM.
Todd Light. Jason Light, excuse me.
Love Todd Light, too. He really go. But Jason Light said, no, sorry. Tom wants him. Let's do it. Tom believes this could be the final piece to a Super Bowl puzzle. But it's at midstream, and you're forcing in a huge personality into the receiving room, number one, and into the huddle, number two. And so far, not so good. It worked okay at Carolina in the middle game, but these 2 other primetime games, New Orleans and Rams, did not work because Brady's having a hard time processing all this quickly enough. It's too many options. Where do you go? And if you're going to flip it to the back better be able to catch it, and the backs couldn't catch it against the Rams.
The clip that you showed the year they went to and won the Super Bowl, you showed the clip of them playing the Chargers. And Joey Bosa says, I can't get there. He's getting rid of the ball too quick. What was he doing?
He complained to Brady about it.
There was no throws down the field.
No.
Now you're asking him.
And by the way, the numbers at the end of that game, he was 350 in that game.
With only like 4 incompletions. But the difference is, Skip, in order to get the ball down the field, you're going to have to stand in there, and you're going to probably have to take a few to the chops.
Okay, I got it. So I want people to be educated on this. He's getting crushed right now because he's 1 for his last 19 on 20-plus yard throws in an offense built around no risk it, no biscuit. Bruce Arians wants to throw home runs. And for the first 8 games, Tom Brady said, I'm good with this. I don't think he's lost an ounce of arm strength because in those first 8 games, he went 17 of 39 on 20-plus yard throws. That's close to 50%. That led the league. 17 led the league through 8 games. The yardage was 583. It led the NFL through 8 games. But all of a sudden, you put Antonio Brown in there. And all of a sudden, you're saying, can we get him deep? And he made the one throw the other night against the Rams that would have brought the house down right off Antonio's fingertips in the 3rd quarter. That's what's happening right now. They're just a little bit off. And I'm sure, to your point, Mike Evans is a little bit not happy.
A little ticked off.
A little ticked off. And Chris Godwin's probably saying, am I chopped liver over here? And Gronk is probably saying, man, he's throwing to Cameron Braid a whole lot. What about me? What about your soulmate?
Yeah.
What about your boy, right?
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Now, I'm tired of you making Tom Brady out to be Goldilocks. Papa Bear bed is too hard. Well, he ain't got enough talent in New England. Well, he got too much. He Mama Bear. He got too much talent in Tampa. I need him to find someplace that's just right. What's the ideal situation for Goldilocks then, please, sir?
Okay. The ideal will be if they can figure out where everybody fits in an overloaded offense.
so
you can have too much of a good thing.
Oh.
You can have too many weapons.
You see what you did there, Skip? Now, if this thing start getting better, he ain't got too much talent. But right now, because it's sideways, he got too much.
How much less time to throw do you think he had against New Orleans and the Rams? Is it a second less? Is it a second and a half? Because that's like an hour less, right?
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, is that, look, you know Tom wants the ball to come out quick. He doesn't want to get those hits. So, look, I just want you to clutch it one time. I'm going to press someone.
Yep.
I would have just played, I'm just different coverages from cover 5. I ain't going to give him a whole cover 5, 22, something like that, because I ain't worried about Tom going anywhere.
Okay.
Tom ain't running.
And what happened right on cue as Antonio Brown entered, Ali Marpet is by far his best blocker. He is the Zach Martin of the Tampa offensive line. And he got concussed, and he's missed 3 games now, and I think he'll play on Sunday. But I'm not sure about that. But if he does, it will all re-solidify against the pass rush. And to your point, the Kansas City rush won't be nearly as fierce and furious as New Orleans or the Rams.
Or Chicago.
Right.
So think about that. Pressure equals wins against Tampa.
So do you think Tom Brady should go home after this season?
With those weapons, he ain't going home.
Thank you.
If he was in New England, he'd go home.
Yeah.
He would go home. But like I said, he's in that tier. The days of him being up there with Russ and Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun and my homeboy, that's tier 1, where things are going, things don't gotta be great.
All the numbers, all the websites, all the third-level stats say he's still top tier.
Eyes. What the eyes tell you? I don't know about the website, but what the eyes tell you?
Body of work.
Well, no. We're talking about 2020. We ain't talking about anything that happened prior to 2020.
Yeah.
I know what you try to do. He's with the 9 Super Bowls. He's won 6 with 6 game-winning drives. How many game-winning drives he got this year?
I believe the GOAT is just getting started in Tampa Bay.
I just asked you a simple question. How many game-winning drives?
Well, he's got them to, what are they, 7-4? That's pretty good.
How many game-winning drives?
They were 7-9 last year.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's been looking like Jameis throwing the ball to the other team, hasn't he?
Not that bad, but hasn't been great.
My guy got
Skip, I'm with you on this one, and just because it's the Tom Brady, I think he's going to figure it out. It's Tom.
He better.
He better. Well, we're moving on because Terry Bradshaw is putting another $100,000 up for grabs in this week's Free to